First to the United States, where fears of a second U.S. government shutdown loom large as the border security talks between the Democrats and the Republicans have broken down primarily over detention policies. Lawmakers from both the parties have spent the past 2 weeks trying to negotiate over the border safety measures after U.S. President Donald Trump agreed to reopen the government for the talks to begin. But Republicans have now said that the talks have been halted over the Democrats' demands to limit the powers of American border security forces. But the top 4 Democratic and Republican negotiators in the U.S. Congress on border security funding will be meeting again later in an attempt to reach a deal to avert another government shutdown by Friday. Democrats have rejected Donald Trump's demands for funds to buy beds for detention facilities run by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The Democrats blame the U.S. Immigration and the Customs Department for the controversial family separation policy at the U.S.-Mexico border. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump hit out at the Democrats over border detention. He accused them of not giving money for what he called the obviously needed border wall. He accused them of letting murderers roam freely in a reference to illegal immigrants. Trump had earlier claimed that the migrant caravan to the U.S. included drug traffickers and gangsters. On the 25th of January, he had agreed to open the government for 3 weeks until the 15th of February so that Democrats and Republicans could reach an agreement on border wall funding. Remember, Trump had announced a shutdown after his demands for the $5.7 billion to build a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border was rejected by the Democrats, who have the majority in the lower chamber of the U.S. legislature. Let's go straight across now to our correspondent, Harry Horton, who's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Harry, the last few hours have, of course, involved a lot of negotiation, trying to arrive at an agreement to avert a U.S. government shutdown. Time is running out before that deadline that was already set by the president. Explain to us in more detail why detention policies continue to remain a sticking point.
Well, time is running out, as you say. Lawmakers had hoped that they could reach some sort of a deal by the end of today, Monday. That would allow time for their proposal to pass through both chambers in Congress, reach the president's desk, and him to be able to sign it into law before this government shutdown would take effect later in the week on Saturday. The lawmakers don't think that they will meet that deadline now and get this legislation agreed before the end of Monday, and that puts a very serious possibility that this shutdown will occur. The talks have broken down primarily not because of the issue of funding for Donald Trump's border wall, as the talks have broken down in the past. Now it's over the number of detentions that immigration and customs enforcement officials can carry out here in the United States. Democrats currently believe that those officers are being a bit too heavy-handed, that they are targeting people, illegal immigrants who cause no problem to society in the United States, people who are living quite peacefully here in the country. They want to see those officers instead target their efforts at the illegal immigrants who are causing the most problems, those who've committed crimes and the like. Republicans say, look, if you introduce some sort of a cap on this, then that is going to limit the work that these immigration officers are able to do, and it will mean that many dangerous criminals, dangerous illegal immigrants are allowed to roam free. This is a fundamental breakdown in the talks here. There's no compromise in those two positions. Both parties have very different views on how to approach this issue, and at the moment there's no way to reconcile those views, and if that happens, there's a very serious chance that we could be heading for another government shutdown.
So that's looking like an increasing possibility. But over the next few days, Harry, give us a real sense of the negotiations that are planned out between the two sides.
Well, they will continue these negotiations and continue to try and find a way through them. But time is running out. You know, the reason they wanted to get these negotiations wrapped up by the end of today, Monday, was so that there was time for other people to have a look at them. There was time for the president to take it in and decide whether or not he wanted to sign it into law. This isn't the sort of thing that I think both parties are confident they can pass last minute. There's a lot more steps that have to be taken after they've agreed on the text of this document for it to be signed into law, so we can avoid a government shutdown. So time is really running out,
Right.
and as I say, those negotiations don't look like they're heading in the right direction at the moment. So very serious chance that we could be in another shutdown come Saturday.
All right, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Harry, thanks very much indeed for joining us with those views.